It is the ultimate illusion of control. Every night, inside the largest poker room in Texas, employees dropped bricks of physical cash into a Loomis smart safe. They thought they were securing their empire. In reality, they were feeding an automated informant. The moment that optical scanner verified a $100 bill, a digital ping shot across the financial network. Provisional credit. The physical paper sat in a dark back room in Round Rock, but the money was instantly, mathematically swept into the corporate accounts of Tempest Holdings Incorporated. In just the first 2 months of the year, that machine swallowed exactly $1.35 million, and every single dollar generated an immutable to-the-penny digital ledger. The operators didn't get dismantled by a wiretap. They didn't get dismantled by a rival syndicate. They were mathematically dismantled by their own corporate plumbing. Welcome to Logic Error Intel. Welcome to the Texas gray market. To understand the execution of this sting, you have to understand the systemic loophole that birthed the industry. The state of Texas possesses one of the most draconian gaming laws in the United States. Chapter 47 of the Texas Penal Code is absolute. Gambling is a criminal offense. The state does not tolerate casinos, sports betting, or commercial poker rooms. If the house takes a rake, a percentage of the pot used to generate revenue, the entire operation is classified as a felony. For decades, this strict perimeter kept the poker economy underground, relegated to dangerous backrooms and unregulated home games. But the architecture of the Lodge Card Club, and dozens of others like it across the state, relied on a brilliant gray market workaround. They analyzed the penal code and found a logic error. The law stated gambling was illegal unless it occurred in a private place. No person received any economic benefit other than personal winnings, and the risks of winning and losing were the same for all participants. So, the operators engineered a new corporate model. They didn't take a rake. Instead, they operated as a private social club. They charged players a recurring monthly membership fee and a flat hourly seat rental fee to sit at the tables. The house never touched the pot. To the outside world, to the local municipalities collecting their property taxes, and to their own high-priced legal counsel, it was a perfectly engineered legal shield. It wasn't just a backroom game. It was a massive, highly visible corporate entity, boasting hundreds of tables, employing hundreds of staff, and processing millions in revenue. They believed they had found the perfect intersection of high-stakes gambling and absolute corporate immunity. But a legal shield is only as strong as the humans operating the front door. The entire private club defense hinged on exclusivity. If anyone could just walk off the street and gamble, it was no longer a private place. It was an illegal casino. In April of 2025, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, known as the TABC, initiated a deep-cover stress test on this exact vulnerability. This wasn't a sudden, violent raid based on a single anonymous tip. It was a slow, methodical, psychological operation. For nearly a year, highly trained undercover agents penetrated the perimeter. They didn't just sit in the parking lot running license plates. They sat at the felts. They paid the membership fees. They bought the chips. They played the hands. They embedded themselves into the ecosystem, quietly documenting the velocity of the cash, the behavior of the staff, and the enforcement of the club's own rules. The operators, blinded by their own success and the illusion of their legal shield, remained completely unaware that the state of Texas was sitting in the one seat, aggressively auditing their vulnerabilities in real time. Over the course of the operation, undercover agents visited the club 6 separate times. 5 times, the club's security architecture functioned flawlessly. The agents approached the front desk, their identifications were requested, their active memberships were verified against the club's database, and they were granted access. The perimeter held. But on the 6th visit, a single human variable failed. A front desk employee, perhaps distracted, perhaps fatigued, allowed an undercover agent to bypass the security checkpoint without checking their membership ID. Mathematically, that is a 16% failure rate. In any standard corporate industry, An 84% compliance rate on front door security might be deemed acceptable. In the Texas gray market, that single unverified entry was the fatal logic error. By proving that a non-member could access the gaming floor, the state mathematically destroyed the core pillar of the club's defense. They proved the building was not operating as a strictly private place. The legal shield evaporated in an instant, leaving the entire multi-million-dollar operation completely exposed. However, penetrating the physical perimeter was only phase one. To truly dismantle an empire, you have to follow the math. Handling millions of dollars in raw physical cash introduces the ultimate chaotic variable, human theft. Skimming, accounting errors, and internal shrinkage are the bane of any cash-heavy enterprise. To fix this vulnerability, the club's management installed state-of-the-art Loomis smart safes. These aren't just heavy metal boxes bolted to the floor. They are high-speed digital teleporters for physical currency. When cash is fed into the safe's validator, it is instantly counted, checked for counterfeits, and mathematically credited to the business's bank account via a secure network ping. But keeping millions of dollars in a high-risk operational checking account is a massive corporate liability. It leaves the capital stagnant and exposed. So, the architects of the club deployed an automated financial agent, the sweep account. Every single night, an automated banking instruction executed flawlessly. It swept the excess capital out of the card room's highly visible, vulnerable accounts and transferred it into a secure, high-yield account controlled by a parent company, Tempest Holdings, Incorporated. On a standard corporate balance sheet, this is a beautiful, highly efficient way to move money. It protects operational capital, limits localized liability, and maximizes interest yields in secondary accounts. It is the gold standard of corporate treasury management, but the automation was too perfect. By digitizing the physical cash the second it entered the back room, the operators unwittingly created an immutable, time-stamped footprint of an illegal enterprise. When the investigation escalated, the IRS and state financial crimes units didn't need to raid the building to count physical bills. They didn't need to estimate revenues based on foot traffic. They simply subpoenaed the automated banking logs. The very machines built to secure the money from internal theft handed the state the exact roadmap needed to freeze it. This wasn't just a failure of physical security at the front desk. It was a catastrophic failure of corporate architecture. The club weaponized their own financial efficiency against themselves. March 10, 2026. The logic error finally executes. 20 TABC agents, heavily backed by the Williamson County Sheriff's Office and forensic accountants from the IRS, hit the venue in a coordinated daylight strike. The contrast between the silent, year-long digital surveillance and the violent physical execution was absolute. They didn't just shut down the poker tables and confiscate the cards. They severed the financial arteries of the entire organization. The search and seizure warrant wasn't just drafted for misdemeanor illegal gambling. It was a highly calibrated kill shot. The authorities pursued charges for engaging in organized criminal activity, keeping a gambling place, and money laundering. Armed with the immutable ledger provided by the Tempest Holdings sweep accounts, the state executed an immediate and total asset freeze. They froze the physical vaults on the property. They froze the operational bank accounts. And they froze the corporate sweeps accounts. In a matter of hours, a multi-million-dollar gray market empire was completely, mathematically paralyzed. The collateral damage of an automated asset freeze is immediate and devastating. The ecosystem does not care about individual intent. It only cares about the ledger. Just hours before the raid commenced, a professional poker player named Wayne Harmon won the Lodge Championship Series main event for over $204,000. Because the club utilized the highly efficient Loomis sweeps architecture, that tournament capital wasn't sitting in a physical vault, waiting to be paid out. It was already digitized, swept, and trapped inside a frozen corporate account. The attrition rippled outward instantly. Over 200 employees, from dealers to waitstaff to security personnel, lost their livelihoods overnight, their paychecks locked behind state-mandated firewalls. The World Poker Tour, a globally recognized brand scheduled to host a massive televised festival at the venue just 3 days later, was forced to abort the event, leaving hundreds of traveling players stranded. The entire Texas poker ecosystem flatlined. Doug Polk, the high-profile public face of the operation, was forced into crisis management. He issued a personal guarantee that players with frozen funds would eventually be paid out, publicly calling the investigation a witch hunt and denying any knowledge of money laundering. But the state of Texas isn't arguing with the face of the company. They are not interested in public relations or YouTube statements. They are arguing with the ledger. As of this exact moment, the ultimate logic error of the American justice system is on full display. No formal criminal charges have been filed against the ownership group. Doug Polk and his partners have not been indicted. But the state does not need a conviction to dismantle a gray market empire. They simply need a judge to look at the automated velocity of a sweep account and sign an asset freeze. The punishment is delivered, the business is destroyed, and the capital is locked away long before a verdict is ever reached. The state uses the very tools you built for corporate efficiency as weapons of mass financial attrition. And the broader question remains, why would the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission spend a year undercover, deploying state agents 6 separate times, just to find a 16% failure rate on a front-door ID check? You do not deploy that level of state capital and federal IRS resources for a misdemeanor gambling charge. You deploy it to clear the grid. For years, massive corporate gaming entities and Las Vegas casino lobbyists have spent millions of dollars attempting to legalize resort casinos in the state of Texas. But a decentralized network of highly profitable independent poker rooms proves a dangerous point. Texans are already gambling, and they are doing it without the need for corporate mega-resorts taking massive rakes. To pave the way for a corporate monopoly, the independent gray market must be classified as a criminal enterprise. It must be eradicated. The Lodge Card Club wasn't just a poker room, it was the largest target on the board. Its destruction was a systemic warning to the rest of the grid. The operators of the lodge built a brilliant legal shield. They deployed state-of-the-art financial logistics to protect their capital and maximize their efficiency. But in the modern era, physical security creates digital vulnerability. The very machines designed to protect the empire from thieves provided the state with the exact immutable ledger required to shut it down. You can engineer the perfect system. You can hire the best lawyers. But cash always leaves a digital footprint. Subscribe to Logic Error Intel and secure your perimeter.